Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 20th episode of the ICA Cricket Show. As we all know, the 15th edition of the IPL is well underway, and while it hasn't quite gone the way, for some of the past multiple champions, it's early days yet. What has stood out, though, is the young Indian talent on offer. Over the next 30 to 40 minutes, our eminent panel, consisting of former Indian cricketers Parthiv Patel, Singh, and Pragyan Ojha, all of whom applied their trade in the IPL, with fair bit of success, will share the views on the proceedings. Parthiv, RP, Pragyan, who by the way is also a member of the IPL Governing Council, it's indeed a pleasure to have you three here with us on the ICA platform. We couldn't have asked for better representation. Welcome, Dr. We couldn't have asked for a better representation, actually. It's tough to beat the combo of a left-arm quick, left-arm wicket-keeper batsman with some of the softest hands that I've seen, and a left-arm spinner. Left is indeed right, gentlemen. Welcome to the show. We appreciate you making the time for us.
Thank you.
Parthiv, I would like to start with you, if I may. Actually, I have two opening questions for you. What a game last night. I just really thought Mumbai Indians were finally going to get their first win of the season. Pat Cummins happens. Quarantine, he comes in from, no, he didn't quarantine, he came in from the Pakistan series. But for me, though, Parthiv, what was more pleasing than the fantastic Cummins show, and he got 56 or 15 balls, while equally the fastest 50 in 14 balls, etc., was the maturity shown by Venkatesh Iyer. I've always felt, and please tell me if you agree or not, that it's the second season that makes or breaks a player. And last night, Iyer, after three poor starts, earlier, showed he may not be a one-season wonder like many. But they want to weigh in on not just Iyer, but what it takes to succeed at this level in successive seasons. After all the analysts have done their part.
First of all, thank you very much for inviting me, and good to be here with RP, Pragyan, and you. I think it's a great initiative in terms of with Indian Cricketers Association, where we can share our views and connect with all the players. Now coming back to your question, I think obviously we've been talking about Venkatesh Iyer. He wasn't even one season wonder. He's not. I mean, last season he did in fact half a season. He didn't even play a full season. And it is true that once you get that exposure, there are a lot of people are looking for you. There are a lot of people try and get you out and stuff. So that's exactly what happened with Venkatesh here. But he answers all the critics. He's answered all the experts. The way we analyze the game. But temperament is something which has stood out for Venkatesh here. For a lot of viewers, I think it's about just watching IPL. But now then RP and Pragyan and you would agree that we've seen how Venkatesh has played for Madhya Pradesh from number 1 to number 8 or 9. He's batted. Someone who could adjust to all the numbers wherever his team has asked him to bat, and that is the reason why he could translate that temperament into bigger stage, which is a great achievement. Which is great. In you want to excel at the higher level. Whatever you've done at domestic level, but you want to excel at the higher level, which was IPL, and for Indian team, he's shown that all the fame or all the appreciation which he's got it was from the opening for IPL for KKR in IPL, but he adjusted himself playing for India at number 5 and 6, and not just played convincingly. So I think it's just a testimony of the temperament of Venkatesh, which is great to see.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for, because we had so many people come and go. So this guy showed also in the half a season, as you rightly put it, that he has something in him. And for him to stand ground yesterday and Cummins did whatever he did, amazing stuff. Parthiv again, as I told you, two questions.
Yeah.
Two of your main teams have been Mumbai and CSK. Should their fans be worried this kind of starts? I mean, I know Mumbai have always been slow starters, but not so CSK. This is the time for fans to start worrying?
Not really. I think you just said 2 of my main teams. I think I would just put it 6 of my teams out of 6. There are 2 of my main teams. I see. Obviously, Mumbai is slow starter. There is no doubt about it. But having being slow starter, you don't want to start your season the way Mumbai has started. I'm sure the talk would always be, though we've been slow starter, though we've won tournaments after being not winning games in 4 or 5 games, but you don't want to start your season the way Mumbai or CSK started. I don't think it is a long tournament. It is, but still they would be looking for answers. Both the teams, for that matter, would be looking for right combination. As a Mumbai fan, I won't be worried. But yeah, as if I was looking at a CSK team, I would still have my doubts in terms of, both the teams have their, bowling needs to be sorted. They need to find out right bowlers for their, right places. I think that's something which both the teams would be looking for. And for CSK, I think the transition from Dhoni to Jadeja is huge. If you are in a team where someone has led side for 15 years so successfully, it is bound that you would look at him for advices. But for me, I think, for my observation is Jadeja needs to take a bigger steps. I think bigger involvement needs from him to, if he wants that CSK to out of this hole.
I agree. My wonder here is whether it is Dhoni who has to take a step back or Jadeja has to take a step up. That's, I think, the debate that we will see through the season.
इसमें हम लोगों ने ऐड तो किया था पीपी की एज लॉन्ग एज धोनी इज अ पार्ट ऑफ एनी साइड, मतलब सीएसके स्पेशली, तो कैप्टन ही होना चाहिए, क्योंकि अब इतने मैचेस देखे हम लोगों ने, बहुत सारे डिसीजन ऐसे थे जिसमें जडेजा तो सोच भी नहीं रहा था। आई थिंक वो धोनी डिसीजन ले रहा था कि जडेजा उधर दिमाग भी नहीं था उसका कि मुझे कुछ सोचना है, विकेट के पीछे खड़े होकर धोनी डिसीजन ले रहा। जडेजा को मतलब ट्रांजिशन जो है वो थोड़ा टफ रहेगा, जडेजा को इन्वॉल्वमेंट हर डिसीजन में इन्वॉल्व होना पड़ेगा। कुछ डिसीजन ऐसे होने जो आउट ऑफ द बॉक्स सोचना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि वो कंफर्ट जोन से बाहर निकलने पड़ेगा कि धोनी भाई है यहाँ पे तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं। तो ये थोड़ा सा टफ तो रहेगा सीएसके के लिए सीजन, और खराब तो बहुत स्टार्ट किया इन्होंने।
And if I can add to this, Satish ji, see, the best part, the positive side to this is MS Dhoni and Jadeja have been playing for more than a decade, I guess. So I think it is very important that that balance has to be created, and who better than MS Dhoni can do it, because he eventually he knows that when he is present, any other cricketer would be always a second fiddle. So I think that balance should be created, because somehow when you watch the game, you feel that it is getting affected. Even at times, Jadeja doesn't know if he has to step in or he has to let it go. So that is something which I think these two, because Jadeja, his entire career, the way he's developed, it's because of MS Dhoni, the way he gave him confidence. I think this is the right time where he gives him more confidence as a leader to become the next captain or the future of CSK. So I think that is where they need to create that balance, because as long as MS Dhoni will be there in the dressing room playing for CSK, it is bound to happen where everybody will look up to MS Dhoni, because he's done that, and his stature is huge.
See, I feel that sorry, Satish. I think looking up to him is something which every player should do. I'm not saying that even Jadeja should look up to him. Jadeja should learn from him, and he will learn from him. But I think the right way to go about it is let Jadeja take decisions. Let Jadeja make mistakes. Even if he makes mistakes, he'll only learn from that. And that's something, that is the reason why you've given away captains. So whether Jadeja should step up or Dhoni should step back, I think the easiest step is that Dhoni should step back. I think Dhoni should try and let Jadeja take decisions. Dhoni being such a big star, it is almost impossible for someone like Jadeja to say that, okay, on the field, I will take that decision. But more than that, I think Dhoni should allow him to take those decisions.
I have one question, PP, for you. So, because I played under your captaincy, ये मुझे बताइए, प्लेयर ग्रूम करना, तो मैंने सुना था कि ये ग्रूमिंग प्लेयर बेंच से बैठा खिलाए, कैप्टन ग्रूम करना, इज इट अ थॉट, इज अ राइट थॉट, और कैप्टन ऑलरेडी ग्रूम को हम पिक करते हैं, ही इज योर नेक्स्ट कैप्टन?
See, I think ग्रूम करना एक चीज होती है कि आप ना ऑफ द फील्ड भी ग्रूम कर सकते हो, साथ साथ में भी ग्रूम कर सकते हो। हमने यहाँ पे कोशिश वो भी करती है गुजरात में कि हम प्रियांक पंचाल को ग्रूम करेंगे एज अ कैप्टन। तो वो आप ग्राउंड में रह के शायद वही चीज मैं कह रहा हूँ कि अगर इतने सालों से आपने करी है जैसे मैंने गुजरात में करी थी, तो वो स्टेप बैक लेना ना थोड़ा सा मुश्किल काम होता है, क्योंकि वो इनहेरेंट है आप में कि आप ग्राउंड पे गए, कितना साल आप आदत रह जाती है तो आप वो खुद भी इन्वॉल्व हो जाते हो। तो आई थिंक ये मेरे ख्याल से डिसीजन धोनी का स्टेप बैक करना सही है। मैं उसमें आई एम नॉट सेइंग कि वो गलत है, आई एम जस्ट सेइंग कि वो किस तरह से ग्राउंड पे मैनेज कर रहे हैं ना, वो थोड़ा सा फिगर आउट करने की जरूरत
हाँ, क्योंकि मैं ऐसा सोचता हूँ कि अगर आपको कैप्टन डिसाइड करना है, दैट्स माय थॉट, आई माइट बी रॉन्ग आल्सो, कि आप 7-8-10 साल में एक प्लेयर आइडेंटिफाई कर लेते हो कि यार इसमें वो पोटेंशियल है, जैसे धोनी को आइडेंटिफाई किया है सारे डिसीजन लोग। तो जडेजा को एक्चुअली क्या है, धोनी थोड़ा बहुत बड़ा फिगर भी है ना, कि आप कहना हो कि भी हर आदमी उसको देखता है यार कि क्या करना है नेक्स्ट, वो भी एक है। जडेजा के पास तो वैसे भी उस जोन में अभी आया ही नहीं कि वो कप्तान है।
So is there a parallel to the story in RCB? Virat stepping down and Faf taking over. The difference could be that Duplessis has already been a South African captain. He's led teams, whereas Jadeja doesn't have that thing going for him. So it will take some more time, isn't it?
See, for Faf, it is a totally different thing because he's senior to Virat. If you talk about his age, and he's already been the captain of his national side, and he was always there in the leadership group. But Jadeja, this is a very new role, and with MS Dhoni, as Parthiv said, I totally agree that for a young guy who has always looked up to you, he can never overshadow you. So it is the senior guy with that persona should always make sure that he gives that extra inches to the new captain or Ravindra Jadeja, so that he starts taking his decisions. So he understands at least that whatever he's done, either he's made a mistake or he's improving. So something he has to do. I feel that is the way where I think this should move forward, because if it is stuck here, then I think things will become worse for CSK, because right now Jadeja as a cricketer also is not in a comfort zone, where we had seen him last year doing really well for CSK, but this year he looks like he's unsettled. So that is something which needs to be addressed.
Okay, point taken. I guess we will find out as the season unfolds how it happens with CSK and with Jadeja. RP, I want to move on from the what do you call the multiple winners like Mumbai and CSK to the two new teams. Both Lucknow and Gujarat have started well. One team had to lose to the other, so that happened. Otherwise, they recorded 2 wins in the other games. It must be under huge pressure coming into the IPL, new teams, the owners are new, and all that. So, what do you think? The fact that they coped so well, you see it augurs well for them. He's gone off. Parthiv, can you take the question? I think RP is linked.
I think it is. He's back. RP, did you hear the question?
I can hear. Sorry.
Yeah.
They start with the two new teams, contrasting RP compared to the multiple champions. So it must be a great way to start, right? The pressure leading to they all started late. They couldn't get the players, blocked off by other teams. Despite that, to start off so well must be a big thing.
इट्स अ बिग थिंग ऑब्वियसली, क्योंकि 2 नई टीमें, पर जो प्लेयर्स हैं ऑलरेडी प्लेयर तो काफी इसमें 70-80% पार्ट ऑफ थे ही आईपीएल के। उसमें कुछ प्लेयर्स थे जो विनिंग टीम के भी पार्ट थे, जैसे और मेंटर भी विनिंग टीम के पार्ट थे। तो सच इतना कोई उनको मतलब अलग से नहीं, ओनर्स के लिए आई एम श्योर अलग फीलिंग होगा कि दे आर पार्ट ऑफ इतनी बड़ी टूर्नामेंट के पार्ट हैं, और उसके लिए शायद अलग फीलिंग हो सकता है। प्लेयर्स के लिए यहाँ पर मैं दूसरी चीज में देखता हूँ कि दोनों टीमें, चाहे गुजरात की चाहे लखनऊ की, कहीं ना कहीं उन्होंने काफी एफर्ट मारा है टीम को बैलेंस बनाने के लिए, एक बेटर प्लान के साथ है कि हमारा कैप्टन कौन होना चाहिए। उन्होंने बहुत पहले डिसाइड किया। केएल राहुल एक तरफ हार्दिक पांड्या है, तो उनको मुझे नहीं लगता उतना कोई प्रॉब्लम। यहाँ पर एक जो दिमाग में रहता है ना कि हमारा स्टार्ट अच्छा है, और स्टार्ट अच्छा अगर थोड़ा और कंटिन्यू कर गए, अगर आप शुरू के 6-7-8 मैचेस में 50% मैच भी जीतते तो आप एक अच्छी पोजीशन में रहते हैं। तो ये दोनों टीमें मुझे लगता है कि एक अच्छी पोजीशन में आएंगी।
And Hardik Pandya coming back to bowl, it's a good sign.
सिर्फ इस पे तो बहुत सारी डिबेट पहले भी हो चुकी है कि हार्दिक पांड्या की बॉलिंग को लेके, पर जो मैं सोचता हूँ कि बॉलिंग करना सिर्फ बॉलिंग के लिए उसका कोई पर्पस नहीं है कि आप सिर्फ आके बॉल डाल रहे हैं। बॉलिंग करके एक इम्पैक्ट क्रिएट करना ताकि आपको टीम को बेनिफिट मिले, वो इम्पोर्टेंट। अभी हार्दिक पांड्या की बॉलिंग देखी है, अभी उस ग्रूम में आ रहे हैं, तो अभी भी उनको अब थोड़ा समय है कि जो जिस के लिए वो सेलेक्ट किए गए थे भारतीय टीम में, कि आप एक प्रॉपर ऑलराउंडर रहे वहां पर, आप गेंदबाजी से इम्पैक्ट कर सके। अभी थोड़ा उसमें समय है कि आप सिर्फ 4 ओवर डालने, क्योंकि अगर माइंडसेट देखो आप किसी भी गेंदबाज का कि 4 ओवर डाल के निकलना है या 4 ओवर डाल के हमें कुछ विकेट लेके टीम को जिताना है, तो दोनों में बहुत बड़ा डिफरेंस है। अगर आप 4 वोट डाल के निकलना चाहते हो कभी निकल नहीं सकते आप, ठीक ठाक पिटाई हो जाएगी यहाँ पे। आउट करके आप चीजें क्रिएट कर सकते हैं। ये अच्छे साइन तो है ही है कि उन्होंने फिर से अपना फिटनेस मेंटेन किया, बॉलिंग आ रहे हैं, पर अभी थोड़ा सा उसमें है समय, प्रॉपर हार्दिक पांड्या जिसको हम जानते हैं थाने में।
अगर मैं जोड़ना चाहूँ आरपी जो कह रहे थे, it's a good thing that Hardik is bowling, but we have to see how he sustains himself, like for the 14th game, till the end of the tournament. That is what is the main concern, because yes, he is bowling. It is just, I think, couple of games, but we have to see if he can carry this forward, if he can continue to bowl at that pace in the last league match as well. So that is something we need to see. I think that will show if he can go long.
True. Of course, you need to see what it does with the bat too. That's another crucial part.
That's there. Yeah, obviously.
Again, impact is what RP mentioned as far as Hardik is concerned. But that's what has happened, right? As far as the youngsters are concerned. When the IPL has expanded to 10 teams, a lot of talk. We ourselves, we had a show last week, 2 weeks back, and we were wondering if the quality will get affected with the teams forced to field so many new fringe players. We'll have to field so many more Indians, etc., etc. But people like Ayush Madani, Tilak Verma, Vaibhav Arora, Jitesh Sharma, Lalit Yadav, and Abhinav Manor, they all started very well. This must be something quite pleasing to you, isn't it? Again, that we have the depth of Indian cricket. Plus, there have been occasions, again early days, when they've not just for availability, but even for tactical reasons, teams have played only 3 foreigners because Indians are stepping up.
Yeah, it is indeed. I think IPL having 10 teams is a great step ahead, because when you're planning to add few things to the property that has been built by BCCI, they would have thought about it, and I think after a very deep thought and analyzing situation, they exactly know that Indian cricket right now where it stands, it needs more exposure, and because of that, I think 2 new teams were added. And after seeing all the 10 teams, especially the youngsters, the way they've stepped up, I think I'm proud that IPL has always been promoting youngsters, and I think that is why Indian cricket has always benefited. Not only the national team, if you see the domestic team, the state teams, they have been benefited because a guy like Tilak Verma, someone like Raj Bawa, when they get this kind of experience from IPL, playing in this platform with senior cricketers and rubbing shoulders with some of the greats of the games, then going back and playing domestic cricket, I think it'll be wonderful. They know exactly what to do and how to go about their business, and what exactly they need to have a roadmap for to reach the national team. I think that is why I say Indian cricket is now the power center, if you talk about in the entire world.
Parthiv, your take on this? Were you worried when it became 10 teams at any stage, or is it gratifying now that the talent that has shown up? You're on mute, Parthiv.
No, not really. I don't think I was worried. Having scouted and traveled all around India, I've seen almost 50 games this season. So there's an example of talent out there in India. There are people waiting to grab their opportunities, and that's something which we saw. Like Pragyan mentioned, a lot of names. There are a lot of players who are already part of the squad. They will get an opportunity at some stage. So it's a great thing for Indian cricket, and as I've always maintained, that Ranji Trophy is is your premier domestic cricket, but IPL gives you that exposure, or IPL gives you that you can catch eyeballs through IPL. So whatever you've done in domestic cricket, you get a bigger stage. You get to know international players. You get to see how what are the training methods which you can which can be benefited and stuff. So example, there are enough examples. There's Tilak Verma who's played India under 19, played for Hyderabad. Now he is representing Mumbai Indians, where he will be having chance to talk with Sachin Tendulkar almost every day, or Mahela Jayawardene, or or Shane Bond, or same with Ayush Padoni, who's part of Lucknow. He had chance to know how to finish games and stuff from Andy Flower or Gautam Gambhir. So I'm just giving you a couple of names, but there are a lot of players out there. They will get that chance to have a proper cricketing knowledge, and from this they'll get benefited. So having said that, as I said, I've seen under 25 games, I've seen first class games, I've seen Vijay Hazare games. So I think there is enough talent, and then future, now that we've seen 10 teams, sorry, they're in say 3-4 years time, we might just see 12 teams, because there are enough players out there waiting to show their talent.
Yeah, I already heard somewhere that it will finally become 12 teams. I think that we won't put Pragyan on the mat on that for now, because we are not.
So I think we should take this opportunity to thank Pragyan also, representing us in GC, where this from 8 to 10, and he's been very vocal, and it's good to have a representative like him, who has played cricket in recent past, who understands IPLs, what happens in IPL, what a player should do or should not do.
Very true.
Thank you.
Yeah, this we could go on about this IPL and get your views, which people are also on various channels. But there are a couple of things I want your expertise on. Public perception. RP, I'll start with you. For example, when a fast bowler bowls in the power play, any bowler for that matter, things. Two fielders outside, anything could happen, right? You could get clobbered one day. How does the team management react? They know, no, they've given you a role. Things could go right one day, things could go wrong one day. But as far as the public is concerned, their team man has to perform every time he's given the ball. Doesn't matter whether it's power play or not. But within the team, how do you guys react? What is told to you people, in terms of talk?
तो अगर आप क्रिकेट के देखो, इतने सालों से क्रिकेट बहुत बदलता रहा है, और उसमें जो फील्ड रिस्ट्रिक्शन एक बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट रहा है कि कितने प्लेयर बाहर रहेंगे, सर्किल कितने प्लेयर के अंदर रहेंगे, और उसके अनुसार हम लोग प्लान बनाते हैं. क्योंकि अगर आप आईपीएल में देखो कि हम सब आईपीएल का पार्ट थे, हमारे एक सर्टेन प्लान होते थे कि हमें इस बल्लेबाज को यहाँ गेंदबाजी करनी. अगर उस प्लान को फॉलो कर रहे हैं तो उतने इश्यूज नहीं होते हैं, क्योंकि अगर उसके बाद भी बाउंड्री पड़ती है, ऐसा नहीं कि हमारी पिटाई नहीं होती है, हमें मार नहीं पड़ती, उसके बाद भी हमें रन्स आते हैं. पर अगर हम प्लान फॉलो करें उतना इशू नहीं. पर दूसरी चीज, अगर देखो आप क्रिकेट हम कितने भी प्लान बना के आए, यहाँ पर जो एक्चुअल प्लान तो कैप्टन बनाता है ग्राउंड के अंदर, उसे हम एग्जीक्यूट करना रहता है. हम सब स्किलफुल है, हमारा सिर्फ जो सबसे बड़ा इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट है कि हम एग्जीक्यूट कैसे करें. यहाँ पे प्लेयर्स, मेजॉरिटी प्लेयर ऐसा कोई रिएक्ट करते नहीं, इक्का दुक्का होंगे जो तो थोड़ा बहुत रिएक्ट कर जाते हैं कि यार कि खराब बॉल हो गया, कैचेस छूट गए, क्योंकि आप इतना इन्वॉल्व रहते हैं और इतना फास्ट गेम में आपने एक बॉल के पीछे, अगर आप सपोज मेरी बॉल पे कैच छूट गया है या मैंने खराब बॉल की उसके पीछे पड़े, तो अगला बॉल होगा नहीं आपसे. और ये बहुत बार देखा गया है कि कैच छूटा, अगली बॉल पे 6 पड़ा है, क्योंकि वो फोकस डाइवर्ट होता है. टीम मैन के हिसाब से मुझे लगता है कि अभी, पहले शायद रहा हो थोड़ा बहुत लो रेट का, अभी तो ऐसा कोई ऐसे इश्यूज नहीं है कि ठीक है अल्टीमेटली हम उस प्लान को फॉलो कर रहे हैं. किसी ने मिड विकेट पे 6 मारा, मिड विकेट फील्डर है तो बैट्समैन ने थोड़ा सा एबिलिटी दिखाई, अदरवाइज तो हमने अपना प्लान एग्जीक्यूट किया ही है. चीजें काफी चेंज हुई हैं और थोड़ा टफ रहता है पेस बॉलर्स के लिए, कि पेस बॉलर को हीट बेयर करनी पड़ती है पावर प्ले और स्लॉग ओवर में, दोनों में. और एरर इतना कम होता है कि अगर आपने बॉल थोड़ा मिस किया तो उसमें रन्स बहुत जाते हैं. पर एट द सेम टाइम बैट्समैन के पास तो एक ही गलती होती है ना कि एक बार आपका बॉल मिस टाइम हो रहा.
Again, for the spinner, similar thing, right? When you're using the power play, when Washington Sundar or somebody bowls 1 or 2 good overs, everybody goes gaga. But the next match, the batsman could get on top of him. But how does the team treat a Washington Sundar? From a good match to a bad match. I'm talking about the internal part. How do you treat things like this?
So I think if you look at the successful teams, they maintain the balance. They know that this is a format where not all the batters will go after the bowlers. So if you don't maintain the balance and you don't give that cushion to your players, then I think the vision that you have to win a tournament, it will not be clear. So I strongly feel whatever happens in the ground, you can always talk to your players, but you have to make sure that you give that cushion and create that balance where the natural instinct of a player doesn't get affected. Once that is affected, then that's where the player sometimes he or she finds it difficult to express himself. And once that happens, you will not be able to get the best out of that particular player. So you have to maintain a balance, because the nature of this format is such where the bowlers will get hit and more runs will be scored. And when you're playing a night game, it is more difficult, because if you see, if you bowl a no ball, there is a free hit, and the margin of those wide balls are getting narrower day by day, and the field restriction. With that, you have due as one of the biggest factors. So when a lot of things are going against you, the best thing you can do as a team is back your player and create a balanced environment. You have to understand things.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was, because, when I'm watching games with some friends and, maybe in a club or something, this reaction that I get, so I always wanted to bring that out from the players, saying that what goes on in the team. It's difficult to explain to people that, look, both these things will happen.
No, we can understand in the ground, in the heat of the moment, maybe there are few reactions, but once you enter the dressing room, it is very important, because that's where
Exactly.
things change drastically. So that is where you need to give a lot of cushion to your players. See, all the champion teams, if you see, their dressing room atmosphere is the best. That is where they enjoy themselves. That's when you convert those space, that mental space that you get, the positivity that you get in the dressing room, you convert them into performances in the field.
Again, to continue with the spin part, what has been noticeable in the first 10-12 days is that wrist spinners, barring maybe figure spinners like Ashwin and Sunil Narayan, the wrist spinners have done exceedingly well. Chahal has been really good. There are a lot of other people doing well. So what do you attribute this to? And this is despite the due. Okay, so some of the successes come bowling first, but it's not that 738.
I think
there is due then also.
I think wrist spinners, they always have that edge, because they always create that doubt in batsman's mind. That little fraction of a second when the batsman is delayed, that's when they make a mistake. But saying that, I'm very proud to say that someone like Akshar Patel and someone like Krunal Pandya, they have been bowling brilliantly, and Washington Sundar, the way they have been bowling, because these are the bowlers, they know exactly, it is very difficult for them to turn the ball. They're using the angles, they have been, bowling in the power plays. And if you see, these guys have understood this format really well. See, for a leg spinner, he's got few variations. He can bowl a googly, he can bowl a flipper, or maybe he can create that doubt in a batsman's mind because of the way he bowls. But for a finger spinner, especially someone like Akshar Patel, he has a very, he's very accurate with his bowling. With that, understanding the game and reading the game ahead of the batsman and tricking him, and consistently, I really enjoyed that, because when your skills are limited, that's when your mental toughness comes forward, and that's when you actually show to the world that what exactly you can do, because your skills, this is what I can do. But how you do it consistently against all the odds, I think these finger spinners have shown.
Yeah, very true. Parthiv, as a batsman, we are talking about this due factor. Do you set out, and okay, results actually have been surprising, Parthiv. Teams batting first have also won quite a few games already. Do you set out to score that 10-20 runs more to counter the due, or as a chasing team, do you say we can take it easy, when the due sets in, we can achieve the target? How do teams plan around the due, if they do?
I don't think people batting first, they think of that we'll have to take 20 extra because of the due. But yeah, team chasing would, they don't wait for due to set it. What if due doesn't set? It's something which is not confirmed every night, that the amount of due is also not it's that tonight there'll be due, and then this much of due will be there on the ground. So that is also not confirmed. So you cannot just plan your inning, depending on something which you can't control. I think that's something which we've been taught as cricketers by all the coaches that you can only try and control things which you can control. Due is something which you cannot control. You try and see how your game's progressing, how which position are you in, and then try and take these things to our advantage. Definitely, if there is due or something, you can definitely it can be your added advantage, but you cannot just pre-plan thinking that we'll plan accordingly and we'll see if due sets in, we'll have to score 20 extra, or we'll get more runs. There could be days where bowlers can come in and execute with wet ball. We've seen that in India England series, home series, where if bowlers have that ability, India defended those runs in Ahmedabad where there was a lot of dew. So bowlers, just the way the game's progressing, bowlers will also progress. They will find there'll be days where they will find a way to bowl with that wet ball, which is something most difficult thing to do. And both RP and Pragyan can can vouch on this, that for a wicket keeper it is the most difficult thing to catch, because the wet ball I can understand. So it is very difficult. So for someone, what if RP Singh decides and then say, I'll not bowl Yorkers tonight because it is wet, I'll try and back my length, and so you've set it up yourself for due, and he doesn't bowl any no balls, and means that the beamer ones, or he goes and does whatever he's doing correctly. So you cannot just plan your inning according to do. You just take advantage of it if it's there. Otherwise, just you have to make sure if it is 180, treat it like 180 and plan accordingly.
RP, do bowlers practice now for the due? Bowl the wet ball in the legs and things like that. Does that happen?
नहीं, प्रैक्टिस तो करते ही हैं कि थोड़े बहुत कि बॉल हल्का सा गीला करके ड्यू का, पर अगर ड्यू में जो पार्थिव का पॉइंट था ना कि सूनर और लेटर वो फिगर आउट कर ही लेते हैं यार कि इस ड्यू में कैसे आपको सरवाइव करना है। क्योंकि अगर आप ड्यू में गेंदबाजी करो, अगर मैं अपनी बात करूं तो ड्यू में सबसे टफ बॉल होगा बॉल करने के लिए वो यॉर्कर, क्योंकि यॉर्कर आपका जरा सा मिस होगा, बॉल गीला है, बहुत रन बन सकते हो इसमें। तो उस टाइम पे जो काफ़ी बॉलर्स अब मेरी बात ही सोचते हैं कि मिनिमाइज करते हैं अपनी मिस्टेक्स को, कि लेंथ पे आ जाएं या फिर यॉर्कर आउटसाइड, बहुत सारी वेरियस ऑप्शंस एक्सप्लोर करते हैं वहाँ पर जब आप मैचेस खेलते रहते हैं और कई बार टीम में बॉलिंग आती है, धीमे धीमे बॉलर का भी इम्प्रूवमेंट होता है। क्योंकि जो एक बॉलर के तौर पर अगर आप देखो तो जो हमारा पाम का रिलेशन है बॉल, वही सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट है, और वही अगर रिलेशन वेट बॉल से बनने लगा तो फिर उसको भी आप चेंज कर सकते हैं यहाँ पे। पर मुश्किल होती है, इसमें कोई डाउट नहीं है, क्योंकि ड्यू एक बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है। वो 15-20 रन का एज देता है, ऐसा नहीं कि नहीं देता। वो ड्यू हमेशा सेकंड इनिंग जो गेंदबाज उस पर दिक्कत होती है। अभी इस आईपीएल में बहुत कुछ मैचेस देखने मिले जहां पर सेकंड बॉलिंग वाली टीम भी जीत रही है, पर उसके बाद भी आप देखो पूरे अब तक जितने मैचेस में टॉस जीत के लगभग 90% लोगों ने क्या डिसाइड किया, सेम ही चीज कि हमें क्या करना है टॉस जीत के, क्योंकि सबको पता थोड़ी ड्यू रहेगी, थोड़ा एडवांटेज मिलता रहता है। बॉलर्स की दिक्कत होती है। प्रैक्टिस एक अच्छा है कि आप प्रैक्टिस थोड़ा प्रिपेयर रहे वहां पर कि इस सिचुएशन में आएगी तो हमें कैसे गेंदबाजी करना, वो सब टीमें प्लान करती हैं। पर कई सारी चीजें कंट्रोल से बाहर है कि बहुत ज्यादा वेट हो गया तो आप कितनी प्रैक्टिस कर लो वो आपको प्रॉब्लम देगा ही। खासतौर से स्पिनर्स को भी बॉल ग्रिप नहीं होगा, बॉल सही से चलेगा नहीं, उतना ही टफ पेस बॉलर्स के लिए, क्योंकि वैसे तो 20 ओवर में 18 ओवर में कोई रिवर्स बॉल बनता नहीं है। अगर मान लो बन भी गया तो वो होगा भी नहीं।
रिवर्स तो नहीं होगी। What I want to jump into the another aspect. One of you took to commentary after hanging up your gloves and your bat. But a fellow wicketkeeper batsman, Dinesh Karthik, doing commentary and then he comes back to play. But he's been quite a revelation, isn't it? A revelation last couple of games, the way he's finishing and all that. I want to talk about him and the other wicketkeeper batsman. We spoke about his captaincy earlier, but Mr. MS Dhoni with the bat, he's back. So, that's something which is really redeeming.
Yeah, I think, that's absolutely great. And as I said, the longevity which these both wicketkeepers have showed, starting from 2001 to playing for almost 20-25 years is great. Coming back to your question about the DK, I think once you start broadcasting, you try and look at game differently. There's always a broader view to everything. That's something which I also experienced. I played after taking up commentary. I played first class cricket. I played a bit of IPL also. But yeah, I mean, you look at game differently. There is always a broader view. There is you get to know a lot of things about what are the plans and all of that. But when you are playing and you're not broadcasting, you just you're just doing yourself. You confined कि आप अपने में ही रहते हैं, आप अपना देखते हैं कि कितना मैं कितना बैटिंग कर सकता हूँ या सामने वाला का कितना प्लान छोटा हो सकता है. लेकिन जब आप ब्रॉडकास्टिंग में जाते हैं ना, दैट यू नो कि ये इतनी सारी चीजें भी करके आ सकते हैं, एंड देन यू अकॉर्डिंगली प्रिपेयर. दैट्स एग्जैक्टली व्हाट डीके सेड इन हिज इंटरव्यू, that I've prepared differently. That's something, how differently he has prepared. That's something, will be interesting to see once, after this season, if he reveals, it'll be great for young players, how differently, he prepared and being so successful. So all, kudos to him, just the way, he's doing commentary and then making sure that he's training, he's getting fitter, staying in ahead of the line with the fitness and stuff, and making sure that his skills are well developed as well. And yeah, MS Dhoni, I feel he's definitely turned the clock in terms of scoring that 50 in first game, and definitely took his time, because it's not easy for any player to just to go out there and play IPL to IPL. He doesn't play any cricket in between, so it's not easy. Even if you're MS Dhoni, even if you're greatest ever, you still have to you will still be a scratchy starter, which he was. For first 25 30 balls, it looked like someone, though he had practiced a lot, he looked like someone was less of match practice, and then he continued, scored brilliant 50. And players like him just needs one inning, and then you're a completely different player. And that's something which we saw in second game as well, where he hit 6 of first ball itself. So that's something which we've been the analyzing about, that Dhoni is a slow starter, but because he had a 50 behind him, and then he started with the flurry. I still feel that he should be batting at 5 for CSK. I think 7 is way too a low number for him. Last year I can understand where he wasn't hitting the ball well, but this year where he's got an early 50. So I think now that he's not a captain, I think he should be batting at 5 and marshalling the troops. That's something which he's trying to do. He's trying to develop a captain now, batting at 5. If he's in the middle, he can develop a finisher as well for CSK.
Things have come a long way, because at the beginning, when they handed over the captaincy to Jadeja, the word was that MS Dhoni will bat if needed. So it's changed from there. Parthiv, just a slight, wicketkeeper batsman itself, seems to be a flux of talent now on the Indian scene as far as wicketkeeper batsmen go. We were earlier talking about this KS Bharat and Vishnu Vinod. So you think that particular thing is in safe hands as far as Indian cricket is concerned?
Oh, absolutely. I think, see, look at the wicketkeepers, young keepers. If you look at Mumbai Indians, Ishan Kishan, there is Rishabh Pant. There is Anuj Rawat, who's a wicketkeeper who plays for RCB, who is very talented as well. Then there is obviously KS Bharat, who's been drafted as a test in Indian Test team as second keeper. Vishnu Vinod is something he's not getting opportunity. But I mean, these 6-7 wicket keepers are, it's great to see so much of talent around in Indian cricket as far as wicket keeping is concerned. And what I really liked about all of this wicket keepers is they are natural wicket keepers, and they can fit into any side as a batsman too. So I think they come in as an all rounders. We try and not see that expect of wicketkeeper saying only bowlers who can bat or only batsmen who can bowl. We look at them as an all rounder. But I think it's about time that if your wicketkeeper is as good a batsman, I think he's proper all rounder. I would say this. If your wicketkeeper can bat at any position, I think he gives you that extra bowling or extra batting option. Otherwise, days were there where we've seen, I started as a number 7 wicketkeeper. I mean, and we were happy scoring 30 runs. And if you could score 30 runs in Test cricket, that was enough. But now the expectations have changed. With the expectations, the ability and the skills also have changed. If you look at this Anuj Rawat, Ishan Kishan, Rishabh Pant, or these guys are playing and they can bat at anywhere. So I think great to see. And on top of everything, they are putting enough effort to become better wicket keepers also. Sometimes we've seen a lot of players, they try and just focus on their batting and try and get into Indian team on the weight of their runs, but these guys are trying to get into the side with both the skills.
Great. Parthiv, we spoke about spinners and all earlier. Any young fast bowlers that you've been impressed with so far?
Oh, plenty of them. There are a lot of them. If you look around, there
I'm
are
asking
plenty of.
RP, Parthiv.
Yes.
RP is,
Parthiv also can give answer.
no,
Parthiv.
Parthiv is
No,
following the whole thing. He's been traveling all over the place.
The scout, the inside scout came out.
Okay, by the way, I must talk to you about what you guys, all the scouts, all over, including the IPL scouts. You look at the work that has gone and results coming out. I mean, that's the best part of this IPL. See, what goes on in the background, not too many people know, but that's happened and we can see the results. So thank all of you guys.
Scouts are very important for the IPL whole tournament क्योंकि जो टैलेंट पिक करके आते हैं उससे थोड़ा कंपटीशन क्रिएट रहता है हमारा क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली व्यूअर्स को क्या देखना है कंपटीशन की प्रॉपर कंपटीशन हो जहां लास्ट बॉल तक मैच जाए और उसके बाद जो भी निर्णय यहाँ पर ये टॉक अबाउट फास्ट बॉलर्स तो वैसे भी मैं देख ही रहा हूँ क्योंकि अब बहुत सारा चेंजेस आया फास्ट बॉलर बीच में एक ट्रेंड था कि हमें तेज डालने वाला बॉलर चाहिए जो 140 डाल सके वो हमने बॉक्स टिक किया एज ए होल क्रिकेट फ्रेटर्निटी उसके बाद अभी फास्ट बॉलर विद स्किल उसके साथ भी हमें मिलेंगे क्योंकि स्किल भी यहाँ पे चाहे आवेश खान हो या फिर यहाँ पर और जो पुराने फास्ट बॉलर हैं ऐसा नहीं कि उन्होंने अपने आप को दोबारा इम्प्रूव नहीं किया एक बिग एग्जांपल मेरे हिसाब से उमेश यादव है क्या जो क्रिकेट कैरियर ग्राफ है पिछले 2-3 साल में बहुत अप एंड डाउन रहा है बट उस लड़के की तारीफ करने की उसने कभी उस चीज को ध्यान नहीं अपने जो अल्टीमेट गोल का फोकस है उस पर हमेशा कॉन्सेंट्रेट किया कि हमें क्या इम्प्रूव करना है और जहां तक मैं अगर सही समझ पा रहा हूँ कि इस बार आईपीएल में शायद बेस प्राइस पे गया होगा उमेश यादव या फिर सेकंड राउंड में
नॉट मच यस
बट अभी आप करंट स्टेटस देख लो बेस्ट बॉलर इस अभी तक के आईपीएल टूर्नामेंट जहां पे उसने पावर प्ले में गेंदबाजी की विकेट निकाल के दिया पर तो फास्ट बॉलर्स का एक कल्चर थोड़ा हमारे यहाँ चेंज हुआ है और कल्चर चेंज होने का क्रेडिट भी आईपीएल को ही जाता है क्योंकि उन्होंने वो डिमांड की कि आपको हमें ऐसे तेज गेंदबाज चाहिए जिसकी वजह से बहुत सारे शिवम मावी आप देखो यूपी से काफी दिन से खेल रहे हैं और उनका भी परफॉर्मेंस अच्छा रहा पे त्यागी एक अच्छा गेंदबाज यहाँ पर ऐसे बहुत सारे आपको गेंदबाज मिल जाएंगे जिनके पास गति भी अच्छी है और उसके साथ साथ वो एक अच्छा इम्पैक्ट भी डाल रहे हैं गेम पर और क्रूशियल ओवर्स बॉलिंग भी कर रहे हैं ऐसा नहीं कि उनको एज ए यंगस्टर ट्रीट किया जा रहा हो कि आप एज ए यंगस्टर हो थोड़ा सा पीछे रहेंगे और इफ नीडेड बॉलिंग कराएगी पर ऐसा नहीं बहुत क्रूशियल ओवर भी उन लोगों ने डाले जहाँ ये दर्शाता भी है कि हमारा जो फास्ट बॉलिंग का पूल है डोमेस्टिक का उसने काफी बड़ी छाप छोड़ी है अगर कंपेयर करें अदर डिपार्टमेंट में तो मैं तो काफी हैप्पी और सेटिस्फाई हूँ जैसे हमारे फास्ट बॉलर निकल के आ रहे हैं जो अल्टीमेटली घूम के भारतीय टीम को हेल्प करेंगे जाके आके सारे फॉर्मेट में
Great. Gentlemen, we are nearing the end of the show. I just want to ask each of you in this few 12 13 days which team has impressed you the most as far as the current thing is goes. Anything can happen in the future. Pragyan, you?
I think Lucknow is a side which is really with the balance that they've created, and this is their first year, and the biggest challenge is you have a lot of players who have already represented the tournament, but as a team how you come up, I think that is something which I really enjoyed. And one more thing I'd like to add, what you guys were discussing about the scouts. The scouts are not restricted to IPL because they find so many players. Somewhere the other, I feel they indirectly contribute to Indian cricket as well. Even national side, because these are the guys who give you that platform. And when the talent is given that platform, when they flourish, that's when Indian cricket is benefited. So the extension of IPL, I feel, because of the scouts, the extension has been brilliant. The biggest example is the Australian series. If you see, most of the players, when they were not available, with a second or third Indian side, we could beat Australia in Australia. And in Gaba, how many times in Perth, I guess, Perth and Gaba both, we have seen, it's very difficult to beat Australia. So I think this is the contribution, the chain that has been created, it has been brilliant. And I think Indian cricket overall, with the help of IPL and National Cricket Academy and all the scouts looking for players, I think the link that was missing has come out together. So I think it is a great healthy exercise that is going on, and I'm really glad that I'm seeing this generation flourish.
Oh, great. Yeah. Great. That's the aim, right? Even IPL is basically meant to improve Indian cricket. RP, he said Lucknow, your team up to now, your favorite team or the best performing team, you think?
Lucknow is one of them, but I think KKR, because number of match winners उनके पास थोड़ा मुझे लगता है ज़्यादा है, जो क्रूशियल टाइम पे एक्सपीरियंस मैच विनर्स प्लेयर जो टेबल को टर्न कर सकते हैं. सो मुझे लगता है KKR काफी बढ़िया और बैलेंस तरीके से खेले, और अगर सेकंड टीम का नाम लूं जो थोड़ा सरप्राइज करे, दैट इज राजस्थान रॉयल्स.
They usually start well. Parthiv, your take?
I think I felt Rajasthan Royals looks a well-balanced side. I think they have proper bowling attack. They have Ashwin, Chahal, Prasidh Krishna, and Bolt. I think these are the four main bowlers they have, and obviously they have firepower. So I feel Rajasthan to me is number one side, and Gujarat obviously is something. I'm just being Gujarati. I'm just supporting them, and great to see. Great.
We never thought of that.
Great.
I wish I was like Parthiv and I could have said Hyderabad, because Hyderabad with the team that they had, I think it is a bigger worry for them, because if you look at their team, you can see a lot of gaps. So I think that way Gujarat has done a brilliant job being the new side and picking up a good balanced team.
I see a lot of gaps in Gujarat team as well, but I'm still supporting them.
Parthiv is being diplomatic.
No, not at all. He's being completely partisan. He's never suspected. He's saying, no, I am. Gentlemen, it is an absolute pleasure. Our Secretary Hitesh joins me in thanking you all for joining us. I know how busy you guys are, especially during this season. And cricket now in India is an all-year exercise. So thank you very much. Appreciate your time. We may trouble you once sometime in the future. If you're free, please do join us. Absolute pleasure having you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to actually thank my colleague Ankita also. She's on leave, but she still put this show together. Thanks, Ankita, and obviously the audience. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, people.